Good morning, everybody. Well, we had quite a weekend this weekend. We want to talk with you about it a little bit, but first, we've got to do the chores.
Morning, chickens. Well, the turkeys don't know it yet, but this is going to be the final week for the broad-breasted turkeys. Later this week we'll be butchering them and they'll be moving to the freezer. The blue slate turkeys will be staying as permanent residents. But right now, with these 4 broad-breasted turkeys, they're eating about 75 pounds of food a week, which is way too much for us to continue to pay for. So it's time for them to go. They're to the right size anyway. All right, let's let them out. One disappointing thing was that this weekend we actually lost one of our blue slate turkeys. We don't know what happened. I came out in the afternoon to just see how everybody was doing, and it was dead inside the house. So I don't really have any idea what happened to it. All the others seem to be doing fine. I guess sometimes that just happens, but it's always kind of a mystery to try to figure it out.
Well, for some reason that duck thinks it needs to go in this raised bed. And that makes me think that maybe she has a nest of eggs in there that we don't know about. She's not happy that we saw her in there. But let's go look inside there, see if there's eggs in there that we don't know about. I don't see any yet.
See any.
What was she doing in there? She left all those ducks over there that were eating to come over here.
She could have had eggs in there and something could have eaten them overnight.
Yeah, maybe. We need to look in here later today and see if she leaves an egg in here. She's going back in there. I don't know what she's doing. Everybody else is eating, but she is in a raised bed. I think she's looking for a place to lay. You know, when we raised ducks in our Phoenix location, our little homestead, urban homestead, we had a house area similar to this, but then we had a penned off area. It was like 20 by 30 or something like that, and we would keep them in there through the entire morning until we knew that they would all lay, so that we didn't have an Easter egg hunt. Out here, they can just roam and lay their eggs anywhere, and so we're considering doing a pen area just like we had in Phoenix, just to keep them in until we know they've all laid, so there's just one area where they can lay their eggs. Right now, they can lay it over, 16 acres, and it's hard to find their eggs, so I don't know, that might be a project coming up that we're thinking of. Now, ducks aren't like chickens. They don't lay in a nesting box. They just kind of find a nice, safe place on the ground and just lay them. So that's one challenging thing about ducks, but we do absolutely love having ducks. We just need to figure out the best way to keep them in one little area so that we can get all their eggs for the day. What are you doing in there? We did some moving around of the rabbit tractors to have them in a completely different area so that we can move them onto fresh grass every day. We also moved the female that I'm going to breed soon next to the buck that we have. Last time that I bred her, I put her in with the male, which is what you're supposed to do, and she was pretty aggressive. She didn't like being with him at all. So I moved their tractors right next to each other so she would be forced to get to know him and be comfortable with him, and that did the trick. So I would like to breed her soon, so we did the same thing. We moved both of these tractors right next to each other so she can get used to him, and hopefully in a week or so I can put her in with him and we can get breeding for this fall. This is the week that the boy goats get their girlfriends. So soon I'll be separating them into different pen areas and then bringing their girlfriends in. They'll stay there for a month.
All right, I've got a good bucket of old milk for the pigs. It's nice and curdled up, along with some scraps in there. So let's go give it to them and see how they like it.
Are you ready for scraps? In your trough?
The cement feeder that I bought for them is really working out well. They definitely can't move this thing around.
Now that it's getting cooler and the underbrush is kind of dying off, you can see over to the cow area. Hope is enjoying some breakfast while she patiently waits for us to come milk her.
All right, now it's time to go in and get all of our milking supplies so we can come out and milk Hope.
Alright, come on. You know where to go. Let's go. Come on.
Pretty Hope.
beautiful. There you go.
Well, we need to take the milk in the house and strain it and get it all bottled up. But then we've got some things we want to talk to you guys about Hope. There's some kind of disappointing news, but hopefully everything will work out okay in the end. I hope. I feel good. Does that feel good?
So we wanted to sit down and talk with you guys this morning to give you some disappointing news about Hope. When we first were looking at her and we went to visit her for the very first time, the previous owner, Rebecca, let us know that earlier in the year she had put Hope in with a neighbor's bull to get her pregnant. And after a time, she never saw her come back into heat. So she assumed that she was pregnant.
Then when we went to look at her and decided that we were actually going to buy her, Rebecca offered to put her back in with the bull just on the offside chance that she wasn't pregnant. We'd put her back in with the bull for about another month before we actually came to pick her up. So we went ahead and did that as well.
So when we brought her home, we were under the impression that she had been bred, that she was pregnant.
Yeah, we were pretty confident that she would be pregnant by that point. She had been back in with the bull twice.
And we hadn't seen her come into heat. Rebecca didn't see her come into heat. Recently, we had her checked by the vet, and the vet said she's not pregnant. And not only is she not pregnant, but she's had a cyst on her ovary that has been preventing her from coming into heat this entire time.
Right. So it actually wasn't even possible for her to get pregnant because the cyst was preventing her from going through a normal heat cycle. So that was a big disappointment. We discovered that shortly after we got her, and we just didn't really know what we were going to do. We did talk to the vet about, what we can do moving forward. And luckily the cyst itself isn't a very big deal.
Right. He gave her a shot, which was a hormone that would basically make that cyst burst. And then it would put her into a normal heat cycle. He actually said it's really common. It's not anything uncommon. It's
right.
Not super rare. It's nothing that we should assume is going to keep happening. But that shot would take care of it, and it would, put her back in a normal heat cycle.
Right. So we found that out several weeks ago, and we've been, deciding what we should do because we don't have a bull. And now that we know for sure she's not pregnant, we need to figure out a way to get her pregnant because now we're at the very least several months, if not many months, behind the ball of what we were hoping we would have our first calf.
Right. So, how are we going to get her pregnant? We could get a bull. And we could, buy one or borrow one, bring them onto the property. Well, we're not sure if we want a bull here. They're dangerous. They may not be trained to electric fencing. Well, and then you think, well, then you could take your cow. We could take Hope and put her in with somebody else's bull, but she's in milk, and we're milking her twice a day.
Right, and we don't want to dry her up right now.
Right, or so in order to keep getting her milk, we would have to go to the other person's house and milk her twice a day. So that seemed like not an option that we were willing to do.
Right, and so the conclusion that we came to is that we would look into getting her artificially inseminated.
Right.
We thought that was probably our best bet. It's probably what we'll be doing down the road in the future anyway. So we decided that was the route that we were going to go.
We thought that would be super easy, right? Call the vet, say, hey, we've got a cow to be artificially inseminated. When do we bring her in? And we found out that not many people around here the vets for sure are not doing artificial insemination.
Right, and we actually live in cattle country.
Right.
I mean, everybody around here raises cattle, so we thought that it would be a very, easy thing to do, easy, to find someone to do it for us, and that, it would just be making a phone call and it would be a done deal.
Right, so it wasn't that way. It's been pretty difficult. Even our friends here that have cattle, they didn't know anybody that did artificial insemination, so it was just a matter of continuing to call around, oh, you don't do it, do you know anybody who does?
Right.
And that kind of thing.
So after making a lot of phone calls, we actually finally found a vet that does do it, but he's about an hour and a half away. And he really thought that it would be too stressful for us to bring Hope to him. He said by the time she was so stressed out, even if we brought her there, her chances then of getting pregnant from the artificial insemination would only be probably about 25%. So he suggested that we try to find someone who was willing to come to our farm to do it here. Now, he did know the name of one person that he gave me, and luckily when I called that person, they were willing to come out here to actually do it.
We only have one cow, and a lot of these people that travel, even the vets, they go out to big farms where they do, 100 cattle in one time. So to ask somebody to come to our farm, because we only have one cow, we were a little worried that nobody would come out for just one cow. But he did. He agreed to come out and help us out.
Right. So we didn't know anything about the process of how the artificial insemination works. We thought it would be kind of a one-day, come out, do it, and be gone kind of deal. It turns out that it's not that way. So he actually came out to our farm yesterday, and he put a device inside of Hope that is called a CEDAR. It's a controlled internal drug releasing device that will actually put a hormone inside of her that will make her go back into heat.
So that device that he put inside of her in 4 days, we will actually take it out. There is a string that is connected to it inside of her that hangs out, and then when the time is right, we'll just gently take that out, and then we have a shot to give her that will further put her into heat.
Right. And then he's actually going to come back to our farm next Sunday to actually do the artificial insemination.
So we're pretty excited. He has all the semen stored at his place or whatever, and we actually were able to see a picture of the bull that we'll be using.
So this first time we've actually chosen to breed her to an Angus bull. We want to be able to have a calf that we can raise up for meat, and so we'll actually be having a half Jersey, half Angus calf, which we're excited about. Now in the future, he did tell us that he can get Jersey semen as well. In fact, he can get sexed Jersey semen. So I think the next time around we'll actually be breeding her to have a Jersey heifer so that we can be raising up the next generation of Jersey cows here on our homestead.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. We talked with the gentleman who is helping us out, and he said he's happy to have us film when he comes back and does the artificial insemination with Hope. So we hope to bring you some footage of that next week.
Now there are a couple of things that are a little bit disappointing about having to do this artificial insemination. First of all, if she does get pregnant right now, it means that she'll be having a calf mid-summer next year, which isn't an ideal time for her to have a calf, but it's not terrible either. It's definitely later in the year than we would have hoped. The other disappointing thing is that the artificial insemination really only has about a 50 to 60% success rate. So we'll have to do it now, and then we'll need to wait at least 30 days, take her back into the vet, and see if they can do another pregnancy check on her to see if she's pregnant. Hopefully, after we do the artificial insemination, we don't see her come back into heat. That would be a good sign. But it's just going to be a waiting game once we get it done. We'll be watching for signs of her going into heat. If we don't see her go back into heat, then we'll make an appointment with the vet in about 30 days to take her in. And at that point, they can either do an ultrasound or they can, go in and feel around to see if they think she's pregnant. That's where we're at with Hope. Again, it was kind of disappointing, and it does definitely set back some of the plans that we had.
We're excited, though, to have you guys along on the entire journey of Hope getting pregnant, carrying her baby, and then eventually next summer having a first calf on the homestead.
Right. It definitely won't be Hope's first calf.
Right.
Hope is 6 years old. She's done this before, but it'll be an all new experience for us, and we're excited about it.
If you guys are enjoying our videos and our channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you have not already. Also, share our videos with people that you know would like them. We would appreciate it. And until next time, thank you so much for stopping by the homestead. Take care and God bless.
God bless.